Hello everyone, I'm Bra Mithra. It's that time for the Dark Herald update for the last time in 2022. This is posted, as you can see, December 25th, 2022. This was meant to be the last Dark Herald for Abyssal Woods, it was actually, I think it was the the bee or the mosquito. I forget what it was. It was supposed to be something. Doesn't matter. We're not getting anything. Spoiler. So, what we end up getting here is just a happy holidays. This is myself and the entire Kingdom Death, I'm assuming team was supposed to be in there. Myself and the entire Kingdom Death team wish you all a very merry time this season. This year, it really feels like we got back on our feet, and I excited to continue finishing all these awesome projects we have poured so much effort and art into. Yes. Okay, so they're back on track, getting things done as opposed to all the other years where they weren't getting anything done. So they're back on track now. We hope you take a little bit of time to treat yourself and rest up before the new year. Okay? The Abyssal Woods will come to visit later next year. Thank you. So, basically, I don't know. Towards the end of the year, it was getting rough there. We missed October. October was pushed into the Black Friday, and that Black Friday update was an awesome update. But so we missed the October Herald. It was pushed to November. We got the October Herald in November. Now we're missing the December Herald, and there's no sign of it coming back in January. Perhaps, maybe not. Perhaps, maybe. We'll see. It doesn't sound like it. To be fair, when I talked about the Black Friday update, although it was super great and everything, I didn't get the feeling we'd be getting the next Dark Herald even in December. Like, the way that it ended, it didn't say, signing off, I'll see you next month, like all the other Heralds had. This was just that's the end of our Iron Mountain, or Inverted Mountain. So, that's kind of what this feels like. It's just, hey, we'll start Abyssal Woods soon. Sometime next year we'll start it. And we get this cool little artwork here. News about the Abyssal Woods will be shared later next year. It is in a difficult place to be able to share, but not to spoil. I don't know what that means. I honestly don't know what that means. Based on what we're about to speak about, how something is in a difficult place to be able to share, but not to spoil, is really, really weird thing to say when we're about to talk about the Showdown board. So, let's talk about the Hard Plastic Showdown board. Hard Plastic Showdown board. Here are some photos to enjoy. More news next month. So it sounds like next month we won't be getting a Herald again, but at least we'll get another update, and it will be about the Hard Plastic Showdown board. So, this update was really supposed to show us the Hard Plastic Showdown board. That's what this update has now, right? We're not getting Dark Herald. So this update is now Hard Plastic Showdown board and Ringtail, which was a thing, I think even during my live stream for Black Friday, you can see I mentioned at one point, it's Poots is on Kickstarter and it's going to grant 3 wishes. And someone asked to hear about Ringtail Fox campaign. For some reason, I don't know, I personally would rather have the stuff we've already paid for, the stuff that was being teased for 5 years, rather than hear more about something that's never going to come, maybe possibly ever, or who knows. But this update will also include that. So this does talk about Ringtail, so it's neat. But the Hard Plastic Showdown board is the meat and potatoes of this update. That's what this is. This was an update to display the Hard Plastic Showdown board. So let's talk about the progress of the Hard Plastic Showdown board. Let's go back. Here we go. This is the first time it was talked about. Well, not the first time. It was also obviously in the Kickstarter, but it's the first update that talks about it and shows it. This is, I don't know what update number this is. Doesn't matter. I think it was 3 years ago, in 2019. We've been hard at work, busting our brains over how to bring everyone the very best Showdown board. It must be gorgeous, and it must be playable without a hitch. And it must deliberate and after much deliberation and experimentation, we have decided on the following. And yes, this is still subject to change. So this was the first time it was talked about. This is the most subject to changey of everything. Each tile will be individual instead of baked into a larger plate. So each tile will be individual. Each tile will be individual instead of baked into a larger plate. That's key. That was the very first thing that was pitched. That's it, right? Each tile is going to be individual because, again, it would allow for possible terrain. It's down here. The height of the tiles will be about 15 millimeters. Wanted to be as tall so we could have deep details and create really pretty relief work. That's fine. There will be a lattice of sorts so that each tile can be placed snugly and perfect distance apart, which is a little bit further than the grids between the tiles and the showdown, or making the overall showdown board a little bigger, but the Lux feeling is perfect. Okay. Each tile will be treated like its own separate tiny project to ensure that even as a standalone, it's gorgeous. They will also be numbered so that you can set them up like the final renders. Okay, cool. Some tiles will be multi-part to ensure we nail a particular effect. This is like the center of the board with the lantern horde in the center and all that stuff. And other ones where there's like a big giant stone face or with the crab on it or something, those will be multi-part tiles. But Hard Plastic Showdown board, here's some... We've been working like crazy on it. So you can see this is two clearly distinct tiles because of the gap here. It's one piece, that's another piece. You can see here, one piece with one survivor on it. This is a multi-part piece, but it has an individual one here. You can see this kind of slides in because they want this is the base of the lantern horde, the circle in the center. So, but after that, the individual tiles start. And then you can see here where they're doing, this is like the rendering, the stuff inside. Here is like another render of like the actual center of the showdown board. So this is going to be one big piece. You can see here there's the lines for the spacing, but they're individual tile. You can see this is an individual tile that slid into that probably. Here's the main gap, it looks like, where... so here you can see better. Here's the main center. Like this is all probably one. It's probably like four bigger pieces, probably like 4x4 or something like that, to make this nice thing. And then you can see all of these out ones are individual, except for this one here is probably not. This one here with the crab spider probably not. This one not. This one here with the big gap. Stuff like that, right? LED kit experiments. There's no promises on this. This means this is probably not coming. Because no promises on whether or not we would get this. So you can see here's an LED inside that one, and then it shows how it's done. Little LED battery inside here. These must be how they were going to slide them together so they would lock. You can see the little locking here. And then it would slide over the top. A lot like, like Dwarven Forge or any kind of terrain tile like that. So there you go. See with the probably plexiglass or clear plastic or something. And then turn the light. So that was the original. Here's the next one that we had, Hard Plastic Showdown board. We are currently on the third pass of the Showdown board and have started to print and test physical samples, which we already revealed a lot about the design and how we can further improve detail and clarity, variations, surface play. If it all goes well, I hope to see this going into tooling before Chinese New Year. This was like 2020, so that clearly didn't happen for multiple reasons. One, it just not being done. I know that there's always like, the pandemic. It just wasn't done. Right, Gambler's Chest, it was also the same thing. I can't wait to send this off to Chinese New Year. It just wasn't done also. So, like, the pandemic really didn't do anything. I mean, it sucks. It put a lot of, like, manufacturing and stuff, but it didn't matter because it wasn't done. So, this was also probably not finished. But, as you can see here, now this is a 3x3, it looks like, or these still look like they're individual. You can see the gaps here. Individual, and they're probably locked. This one doesn't look like it's so much of an individual one because of this, probably because of this vine or whatever. But maybe this is a 3x3 tile. Either way, that was it. And you can see here, still clearly individual. See the big gap here? Individual pieces, individual tiles. So that was the next one. This was a Sacred Backer kit during all that time, during 2020. Hard Plastic Showdown board. Just a few new renders as we continue to make passes on this. We have been slowly going over the board, enhancing detail and ensuring the level of all the highest points are the same so the playability feels not as good as it looks. Okay, this, I don't know. It still kind of looks like these are individual pieces here. Individual tiles. This looks like a grander, bigger tile, like a 2x2. Again, these all look like individual ones. So, still look like it was all individual. Here, this one, this was like one of the Black Fridays. I think this might have been the Black Friday for 2020. Work on the Showdown board continues. It's been quite a task, ensuring that it's a nice and flat surface area to play on, even though it appears to have tons of depth. We've got some serious design trickery at work. So here's a bunch of just design trickery, I guess, where you can see there's like these slates and they pack on and then you go over and then I guess you put individual tiles inside, like, I don't know what this all is. It's just like a tray. It's like a framework, plastic framing, and then the tiles go inside of it. I mean, it kind of looks like even here there's like a circle to, maybe they were supposed to be magnetic or something. But if they were magnetic, you wouldn't need like all this fancy rigmarole. But these look like 3x3, and then they interlock with these other 3x3s, and that's how you do it. You probably would go red, green, red, green, red, green, or red, blue, whatever these colors are, and you interlock them across the whole board. And they look like this when they were done. So these must be two. Well, no, this is not 3x3. So this is like a 5. Who knows? This could be one big tile piece with a big spacing in between. So you can see these are all these pictures that I've shown are pretty nice, clear pictures of the Showdown board. So now the last update also said the Showdown board might be delivering before we even get Gambler's Chest, which is interesting. I thought that was super interesting. So you would think it's pretty much near finalized right now, right? Look at these nice clear pictures. We've gotten all these pictures are very nice, very clear. You can clearly see what's going on. So you would think that the newest update that is dedicated to the Showdown board would have very nice, clean pictures. Here we go, a new one. This is it. This is today's update. Hard Plastic Showdown board, Hard Plastic Showdown board. Here are some photos to enjoy. More news next month. So this is the box of Kingdom Death. This picture, I would say 50% of it is the box of Kingdom Death. Who cares? I already have the box of Kingdom Death. I don't care. Then, as you can see here, the photos become out of focus. So the camera was focused on the Kingdom Death box. So the camera was not focused here, or they're just obscuring this for some reason. This is an update dedicated to the Showdown board. Why are these pictures out of focus and focusing on something that the update's not dedicated to? I don't understand this. And this makes it so this one looks like, so these make it look like they're going to be 3x3 or 4x4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4x4 here in the center, right? You can clearly see it's probably 4x4s, 4x4s. This is 10th anniversary Zachary fighting a Phoenix, which is completely all blurred out. The camera focus is clearly on Zach here. And then the Showdown board is all out of focus and obscured. Why? Okay, so you want to see these lanterns. This is clearly done. Like, someone did this, right? Because this is clearly in focus here. And then this was all like blah, 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 with like a obscure brush or something. This was altered after the fact. So there's clearly lanterns. That's pretty cool. It's hard to tell if these are, again, individual pieces. It would be nice to have a clear picture. Okay, so here's the 10th anniversary survivors all fighting a Phoenix here. And again, this is in focus. The Phoenix is in focus. And the board here is just a mess. It's just out of focus. You can't even tell what's going on. All out of focus. Ah, here we go. There's a card obfuscating the board with some dice. I mean, this is showing that you can play on it, but I would like to see it. So this, again, looks like it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Big gap here, right? These are much closer gaps. They could be individual tiles here, but I think they're probably a 4x4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, maybe 5x5 even here. And then they're put on here. And then, like, that's it, right? It's going to be 5x5 tile. Again, here we go. This is the center of the board, the 10th anniversary survivors. The same picture, kind of, except for the cards gone, dice moved around. And then the focus is clearly these survivors and the center of the board. And everything else, you can see the picture here was in focus. See right here. And then this is all obfuscated. Like a Gaussian blur or some kind of blur. Something is happening. This is altered, like, or the camera's just out of focus. I don't know why you would do this. So we can't really tell anything. It looks like there's a big gap here. And then here So when it gets, you can see this is clearly in focus, and then right when it gets to like this, they're obfuscating it for some reason, which I think is probably because they're not individual tiles anymore. They're probably big chunks of stuff, just big 6x6 chunks. See, here you can see a little bit better. I don't even know what this picture is. This picture is the worst of all of them. This picture is focused on this. I don't know if they wanted to draw we'll talk about this, but this is just the board just completely out of focus. Like completely out of focus. I don't even know if it's a full board. You can see kind of back there is like a gap. It's like they didn't have a full board here. Clearly isn't a full board. So maybe maybe it's not as near as done as they thought it was done, or I don't know what's going on with this. These, again, look like bigger, not single individual tiles here. There's no breaks here, right? So even when you get farther away now, it still looks like they're going to be 4x4s, 5x5s. They're bigger chunks. They're bigger terrain tiles, like Dwarven Forge tiles. They're thick. They're going to be like that, which is still fine and super great. I don't care about like I'm not complaining about this, right? The board, because I had heard from last Black Friday that we're going to start getting it maybe before Gambler's Chest. I picked up the Showdown board, right? I went and got it as well just to get it because it looked neat, and I'm not complaining. This is still going to be super awesome. I'll paint it all up. It'll be super fun. I just don't understand here. Like I just don't. This is just, why are you obfuscating the pictures? I don't understand this. This is weird. This is weird. Why are the pictures so out of focus and pointless? Like, what is the point of this? Why would you even say, here are some photos to enjoy? They're blurred and these are terrible. These are terrible pictures. These are just not clearly not showing what you want to show here. I don't understand this. Even like cards that we've released for some reason have this blur and Gaussian blur over them. Why? This card is in the game. We know it's not like this is a spoiler. I don't know, unless maybe it is. Maybe this is a different card, got changed in Gambler's Chest or something. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Maybe it's because of this before damage. Isn't the difference between us have a Headhunter? I think this has Headhunter or something. Who knows? This is wrong. Taste has confirmed that Headhunter should not be before damage. It should be an after hit. So if this is still Headhunter on the difference between, maybe the Gaussian blurred it because it's a huge mistake and all those should be eroded. So I don't know. Speaking of huge mistakes, let's talk about this. Here's the anxiety disorder with the Berserker disorder and then some other fighting art here. You can see the fighting art card. So you would think on the Survivor record sheet, well, on the Survivor record sheet here, you can see they have fighting arts. One is listed as honorable. Honorable is a disorder. And you have anxiety here. Anxiety is listed as your disorder. Honorable is like not. I don't know why this says honorable. It really looks like it says honorable. That's not a fighting art. So I don't know. I don't know. And this is where you're pulling focus. The camera is not focused on the board. You focused on this. You focused on this. This is what you're drawing my attention. This is what's in focus. You wanted me to look at this, and you wanted me to see that the disorders should be written under disorder. It's not. You shouldn't have. You have two fighting arts. You've listed honorable, which is not a fighting art. This is what you've decided to take a picture of. This is what drew my gaze. So I don't understand. Thank you, and thank you again for this opportunity. Until next year. Now we get some. He did not forget. Did not forget. This is the Promise Ringtail Fox expansion scheduled for, I don't know, sometime. So the Ringtail Fox god presides over a hollowed mire, realigning the moon atop its great tree to signal the tides of the hunt. The settlement make their home in hastily built structures within the ever-shifting tunnels underneath the sacred swamp. During the resting tide, the survivors emerge from their subterranean homes while monsters are inactive to scavenge the fox god's shed fur. These curled hairs must be sterilized lest each lock grows into aspects of God. Terrifying and beautiful fox monsters small enough to invade their home. So, interesting. This is super cool. This artwork is super cool. Like, it's weird jaw here. This is super neat. Super cool artwork. All the stuff's really cool. These are the Fox things. We've seen them before. There's actually been releases of some of the Ringtail Fox survivors and stuff. Their lanterns are super cool. This stuff's really cool. Here's some more. really neat, really cool. More this stuff here is like very anime, very Japanese inspired. So very cool. This is very like anime. This kind of reminds me of like a Final Fantasy Dragoon. Like the Final Fantasy Dragoons. They got like their hoods. Well, this is a hood, but they kind of have this like stance and stuff with their lance. It's just like their very natural stance in artwork for Final Fantasy Dragoons. They even do like this like leg back like this when they're jumping. I know like this is like almost like a direct image of like Kane with his head like kind of down with his spear like this. Really looks like that. The next picture, which I can't show, kind of really does look like Garuda. I'll down a little bit. Yeah, you can see like this kind of reminds me of like the Garuda from Final Fantasy. I can't show any more of that. I have to skip by it. Even like the top, when we were at the top with this other artwork, it reminded me of like a white mage. This is like very typical, but this is only because this is white. I'm assuming this is actually red. This is like a red hood here, but with the staff and stuff, this is like how white mages present themselves with their staff. Very Final Fantasy-esque. So let me skip past that Garuda art now. So now we've got some other little like neat stuff. So Swamp Hood here. Got some cool stuff here. Looks like there's a boathouse with, you know, a hunting team on a boat here. You got like lanterns on like little lily pads here. Very neat. Fishing with actual fishing rods for fish instead of sky fishing. Not now, not anytime soon, but one day let's hide from a blushing owl. We've already seen that. Should be capitalized, I think, right? In our secret tunnels, at its greatest depth is a sunken castle, and there's gonna be some spooky stuff in there. So, very interesting. I think that, what was the other thing? Did it mention the moons? Oh yeah, so back up here. Fox represents Valhalla Mile, realigning the moon atop its great tree to signal the tides of the hunt. So it's got like a moon above the great tree, which, you know, the sun is the Sunstalker, and the Storm Knight Castle is where one of the Sunstalkers is like affixed to, leashed to, however you want to say it, chained to the tower, the spire of that, the Storm Knight Castle, and then it creates rain and does all that stuff for the sun. So that is a Sunstalker. So the moon is probably some other neat new creature that's affixed to the great tree. And then the moon is affecting the tides, just like it does here, like just in real, like that's how the moon does. So that's really super cool. That's some neat stuff that we did learn about the Ringtail Fox stuff. All the Ringtail Fox stuff, super cool. It's just, I'm just so confused as to why even show those bad pictures. You've shown so much more of the board earlier, and now to just show obfuscated pictures with blur effects on them, it was so weird. I don't understand why you would show that. It didn't really give us any new information, and it's just confusing that you would pull focus away from the thing you're supposed to be highlighting. I don't understand. That's like if he said a promise to show you Ringtail Fox, and then all it was like this was all ciphered, and then we had to decipher. Why would you do that? It's just like so puzzling and confusing. I don't understand it. So, aside from that, looking forward to next update where maybe we'll actually get some actual information about the showdown. Maybe eventually we'll get some. I think what will happen with the Dark Heralds is Gambler's Chest will probably have that, or we'll probably all the expansions. It will be like what we just got with the Dark Heralds, right? Where Inverted Mountain was done, and we learned all about Inverted Mountain. So now with Abyssal Woods, they're probably going to wait for Abyssal Woods to be more nearly complete, and then explain all of those expansions as one. There's not really much in there, but we shall see. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.